Hello and welcome back to the podcast. My name is Emma,
And my name is Wyatt.
and we just got done watching Firestarter. So, first off, what were your thoughts?
I thought it was solid. Yeah. If I had to give it a one-word review, I'd say it was solid.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was very entertaining. I don't know. I don't really like scary movies, but I thought it was tolerable. The scary level.
Yeah. In terms of scary level, there was nothing that really made me go, oh, I don't want to be watching this right now. Obviously, there's a couple of jump scare stuff, but there's nothing that really strikes me as overt horror. It's more just thriller elements than anything.
Yeah, and just kind of gruesome, I thought.
Yeah, a little bit of the whole body horror aspect, but it's tolerable for sure.
For sure. So, just for a little background, the movie is in a new adaptation of King's classic thriller from the producers of The Invisible Man. A girl with extraordinary pyrokinetic powers fights to protect her family and herself from her sinister forces that seek to capture and control her. So this movie follows Charlie, which is played by Ryan Yara Armstrong, and her dad Andy is played by Zac Efron. And they are concerned, Zac Efron, or the dad, Andy, is concerned about her when a governmental agency called The Shop wants to capture Charlie. The Shop is interested in her because she is born with her abilities, whereas her parents have some skills, but only as a result of experimental drug tests. I mean, this movie has been done before, but I thought it was interesting that the parents had powers too, and I thought that made it a lot more entertaining.
Yeah.
And just kind of makes it make more sense why she has those powers.
Right.
So yeah, this movie was originally adapted from the 1984 King novel Firestarter. And the original movie starred young Drew Barrymore as the lead role, which helped catapult her career as an actress.
Yeah.
I thought Ryan did a great job, though.
That was the one thing that stuck out to me is that wow, this is that is the one thing I was nervous about seeing the trailers for this movie is this is, a huge role to put, on somebody that young, and it's this strikes me as one of those books that wouldn't do well adapted to movies just because of how hard it is to portray anything like this as a young actor, but she did a phenomenal job, and I was blown away by her performance. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, definitely. She is only 12. So she had a little part in the last season of American Horror Story, but Firestarter is her biggest role yet.
American Horror Story, huh, man? She's just jumping right into it, huh? No Disney Channel stuff. You're just jumping in straight with the horror, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. So a little bit more on Zac Efron too, obviously from High School Musical, but in this movie he plays Andy McGee, Charlie's dad. He also played Ted Bundy in Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile. Did you ever see that movie?
No.
That is a really great movie. He's incredible in it. So that was a more chilling and a suspenseful role for him. But other than that, this is the only suspenseful type role that he's had thus far.
That's funny that Zac Efron, the adult, gets started with Disney Channel and then goes to this, and the kid actor starts with American Horror Story.
Yeah, but I thought his performance was really well done as well.
Oh yeah, he's a wonderful actor, and yeah, I mean, just putting him in that serious role and a very emotional role as well, and yeah, he was a very bright spot for this movie. It was
Definitely.
The performances were great.
Yeah, I think him and Ryan really did a great job together. So a quote from Movie Web kind of gives you a little bit of insight of what to expect. So the screenplay was written by Scott Teems, who also wrote Halloween Kills in 2021. Did you ever see that?
No.
Okay, yeah, that was far out of my comfort zone, so I was not about to watch that.
Yeah.
But so being a Blumhouse production project, it's more likely that there could be a few twists and turns within the plot that the audience members who saw the original may not have expected. I did not see the original, so I can't comment on that too much.
Yeah, I can't speak on that, but I mean, it just makes sense to not, just do a word for word remake of the earlier movies. So I'm glad it went in its own independent direction, even if I haven't seen the original. It's nice that they kind of were willing to take a few different steps.
Yeah, definitely. So similar to the original, the Firestarter remake was given an R rating, which can be considered good news for horror movie fans. It's rated R due to violent content, which means there will be plenty of fiery chaos and destruction on screen. Considering technological advancements since the early 80s, audience members can be in for a visual effects treat. And I thought that perfectly sums it up. I thought the visuals were incredible.
Yeah, I like the direction they took her powers in visually was nice. It's like, I guess I don't know how to describe it. It's like it's not too over the top, but it's like it's just enough where you like you get that like bit of serotonin where you're like, look at that, cool thing. But it's not like so like over the top like CG, all that special effects stuff to where you're like taken out of it. So they found a good balance.
Yeah, they definitely did the perfect amount to where it feels real almost. Like not, it feels like it could be something that could happen, which obviously not. And as far as a horror movie, I think hardcore horror fans would not think this is scary. Me being a wimp, I thought it was scary. But also, like, I could stand it, and I feel like I'll be able to sleep tonight. So, like,
one thing that I find very interesting is, like, the way, like, I felt scared and the way I felt the horror was, like, obviously more suspense, and it's more, like, playing on the relationship between, the father and the daughter and that, like, familial bond. They play with that where it's, like, you just feel, you can feel the emotions of the characters, and that is scary because the emotion of the characters is, scared. So, I think they didn't, like, there was not a whole lot of jump scare stuff. There wasn't a whole lot of, like terrible gore or anything like that. It was mostly just, like, a psychological, like, you should feel afraid because these characters are afraid.
Yeah, it was definitely, like, it was very emotional, I felt. I thought, like, her relationship, I won't give it away, but, like, her relationship with her parents and just, like, her internal battles.
Yeah.
That was kind of the most of it, at least for me. That was intense.
Yeah.
The AU review kind of comments on this. So, the King connection may entice some viewers. Firestarter is a more science fiction leaning film. You could even consider it an action film in some type of light manner. And it is unlikely to appease those hoping for something considered remotely scary. That being said, King's novel was never a straight horror piece to begin with. Yeah, I think I didn't think it was that scary, but I also don't think it was really like action.
No.
But science fiction, yeah.
Science fiction for sure.
Like with the lab and stuff.
Yeah.
Which I don't think that gives it away at all. But the score was composed by none other than horror legend John Carpenter, who did the score for Halloween, and his son Cody. What did you think of the music? Were you paying attention?
I'm glad you brought that up, and I didn't even realize it was the guy who did the music for Halloween, because one of the things I was thinking was, man, this soundtrack sounds similar to something from, like, Halloween, because there's, like, those high synth hits, and then there's, like, the low bass, and you can feel, like, something's coming. Like, there's a couple electric guitar stings. It's very classic. Like, I just look at him like, oh, like, that's classic right there.
Yeah, like, the music definitely adds to the suspense, and I think it could be argued that the music is one of the most important things to making sure a film is scary and gets the message across that it's intending to.
I was on a bus ride recently, and there's somebody in the seat across from me watching a horror movie, and one of the things I notice is that when you watch like anything like scary without any sound, it's just funny.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, I just see, like, eyeballs moving all weird and, like, all this, like, weird stuff, but all I can do is just chuckle at it because there's no like, like, that, like, sudden jarring sound that hits. So there's no, like, weird suspenseful music. You just see it.
Yeah.
And so, this is definitely an audio visual experience.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and I think it's this type of movie especially, I think, is worth seeing in theaters, just so you get that, like, immersive sound experience.
The subwoofers.
Yeah, I think it just is really important to, experience it that way, because then you can actually feel the suspense that the director was going for.
Yeah.
And just really appreciate the music for in its entirety, not its toned down version.
Yeah.
For box office pros weekend forecast, it's not looking too great for this movie. There could be an opening for a last minute interest in the film, given the nature of horror titles to often peak at the 11th hour, but chances of that scenario happening aren't high. The film is yet to receive any reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and its genre comes in direct competition with the mystical Doctor Strange sequel itself, which kind of stinks because I think it's a good movie, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking for something to watch, I think it's a great option.
One of the things about it is that, like, the premise of the movie, there's two things that I picked up on is, like, you know, it's obviously, like, if the idea of superheroes were real, like, what would happen? And, you know, it takes the cynical view of, like, the government would want to control them. And it's unfortunate because that idea has been played with a little bit recently. I think Amazon Prime's The Boys plays with that idea of, like, if you try to control the superheroes, what happens if they don't want to be heroes anymore? And I believe Invincible, also on Amazon Prime, does that as well, where they take that idea of, like, what if the superheroes don't actually want to be heroes? What if they want to be bad? And this movie just comes out, like, after those two series have had such critical acclaim. And it's just funny because this idea came out in 1980, and then they're just now doing it again after all the hype for that. And so I think, it's just coming out at an unfortunate time. And
Yeah, definitely. And box office kind of comments on the lack of marketing for this film and just overall confidence in the box office performance. And it also is being released on streaming. So that kind of stinks just because I feel like it's not getting its full potential and full shot at the theater to perform well, because I think it's really well done. I think it's simply, like you said, a solid movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the acting is, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
The music is incredible. The visuals are fantastic. Like, it's just an all-around great experience to watch that movie. And, you know, I thought it was like a perfect medium of scary and not. So, you know, I think obviously it's for adults, but I think if you're kind of in the middle between, like, I don't know if I like scary or whatever, I think it's a great movie to watch. Yeah. So any final thoughts on it?
No, like you said, it's just, it's a good watch. Yeah. If the director and everyone's doing their job correctly, you're going to feel that, you know, like, tense, you know, you're going to feel the tense moments, and you're going to, you know, hopefully you'll be a little bit, like, on edge, but it's nothing too crazy, and it's nothing that'll, like, you know, send you home and, like, make you sleep with a nightlight or anything like that. But it's just good, you know, emotional storytelling at the end of the day.
Definitely. Yeah. The other movie that is premiering tonight is Father Stew. So a little synopsis of this. God needed a fighter, and he found one. Father Stew is based on the true life story of boxer turned priest, Father Stuart Long. And this is starring Mark Wahlberg, Mel Gibson, Jackie Weaver, and Teresa Ruse. This is a passion project from Mark Wahlberg and Mel Gibson, both devout Catholics. I have heard that you can tell it's a passion project.
Yeah.
Definitely, that's a good one to come see if you're interested in a more religious, spiritual type film.
A little more grounded than Firestarter or Doctor Strange, I would say.
Yeah. So speaking of which, what else is playing at the theater? Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness is still here. And Firestarter, obviously. Father Stew, The Bad Guys, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is still here. And Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore. And then coming next week, Downton Abbey, A New Era is arriving. A little synopsis of this. From award-winning creator Julian Fellows comes the motion picture event Downton Abbey, A New Era. The much-anticipated cinematic return of the global phenomenon reunites the beloved cast as they go on a grand journey to the south of France to uncover the mystery of the Dowager Countess' newly inherited villa. I think that one will be good. I'm excited for that one.
I to this day don't really know what Downton Abbey is. I'll have to do my research.
Well, we named our chickens after we have 4 chickens, and we named them after the cast of Downton Abbey. So in my household, we're pretty pumped for this movie.
Well, if we watch it for the podcast, you have to bring one of the chickens in and
Yeah.
get their opinion.
Yeah, I'll bring the rooster, Mr. Carson. But yeah, so any final thoughts?
Yeah, just solid movie.
Yep.
Solid movie. Definitely not disappointed with that.
Great weekend to come out to the movies. So thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week.